Good morning, everyone. My name is Tammy Sattler-Jones. I'm the Assistant City Administrator, and I'd like to call to order the License and Variance Board meeting for Wednesday, January 13, 2016. Board members present to my left is Scott Stokes, the Director of Public Works, and to his left is Brian Marcos, the Deputy Fire Chief. Christiana Craddock is the Executive Assistant to the City Administrator, and she will be taking the official meeting minutes. First item is a public hearing, privilege license request, LIC 16001, beer wine package 4330, East-West Connector, SF Markets, LLC, DBA Sprouts Farmers Market, number 518, with Blake Lawrence Atkins as the agent. Is Mr. Atkins here? Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
And for the record, can you state your name?
Blake Lawrence Atkins.
All right. And have you received a copy of the city's alcohol beverage ordinance?
We have.
Okay. Have you read it, and do you understand it?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you agree to abide by the ordinance?
Absolutely.
Okay. And have you completed the prerequisite responsible alcohol sales class?
We have.
Okay. And I think we have a copy of your certificate on file. What steps do you have in place at your store to make sure that none of your employees sell alcohol to underage persons?
Well, with the city of Smyrna, we will actually card every single transaction anytime it involves any alcohol involving beer and wine. So we'll card 100% of the time. If there's a violation as far as someone not carding, we do have an internal alcohol policy that is renewed every year. We just had all of our team members re-sign that at the beginning part of this year, so it's all fresh in their mind. But typically, if they are caught not carding, it's automatic termination typically.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant?
No.
What is your role at the store?
I'm the store manager.
And what are your hours?
We're open from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Your hours?
Oh, when do I work?
Yeah.
I'm typically there from 5 a.m. to about 5 p.m. in the afternoon.
And what days a week?
I'm scheduled to be there every single day except for Thursday and Sunday.
And how many employees do you anticipate working the counter to sell alcohol?
I currently have 27 cashiers, and then also we have my management staff, which is an additional 7 folks.
And then basically the only thing you have in place is the ability to check licenses. You don't have a point of sale on the registers?
We do have a point of sale on the registers, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And we have our alcohol policy as well for our company.
All right.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant? Do you understand that from time to time the Smyrna Police Department does undercover sting operations, and if anybody sells alcohol to an underage person, that they will be taken to jail immediately?
Absolutely. We actually just had an undercover one last year. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right. The Smyrna Police Department did do a background investigation, and no information was revealed that would preclude issuance of that license. So with that said, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you step to the podium at this time. All right. Seeing no one, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve privilege license request LIC 16-001 beer wine package 4330 East-West Connector. SF Markets LLC doing business as Sprouts Farmers Market. Number 518 with Blake Lawrence Atkins as the registered agent.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve privilege license request LIC 16001. All in favor, please vote. All right. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16001, allow reduction of the rear yard setback from 30 feet to 23 feet for a deck on a new single-family home, 0.1 acres, land lot 561, 1343 Marston Street. Melody Johnson is the applicant. Is Ms. Johnson here? Can you please step to the podium? And for the record, can you state your name?
Melody Johnson.
Okay, and can you tell us about your variance request, please?
Well, I'm requesting a variance for the actual deck of a new construction for the setbacks to be reduced less than the 25% of the required.
Speaking to the mic.
I'm requesting that the variance for the deck to be able to go over the 35-foot setback on a new construction single-family residence at 1343 Marston Street.
Okay. Any questions for the applicant? All right, well, at this time, we'll have the staff make comments, please. Joey Stobbs.
Joey Stobbs, Planner 2 with Community Development. The applicant is requesting a reduction of the rear setback 30 feet to 23 feet. There's an existing single-family structure there that they propose to demolish and then build a new structure. It's roughly almost 8,000 square foot lot, which is with the zoning R15 presents some hardships. R15 zoning would usually be a 15,000 square foot lot, so this one is about half the area. When you apply the R15 setbacks to this lot, it leaves a very small window of how you can place the structure and meet all of the setback requirements. So this particular arrangement is it's meeting the front and side setbacks and just only encroaching the rear setback. Part of that is because it's the least obstructive placement on the lot in respect to the other neighbors and with respect to the trees on the lot. So we find this to be the minimum variance needed to accomplish building a new structure on the lot. We've recommended approval. I have not heard of any opposition regarding the request, and signage has been posted on the lot. So just the one condition that it be approved with the condition that it complies with the site plan submitted with the variance application.
Any questions for the staff?
What size deck are they building, Rusty?
It's about a I had it in there. It was about 14 by 16 by 10, so 160 square foot.
So the 10 foot is the width or the depth?
The depth.
Okay. All right.
Any other questions? Ms. Johnson, do you agree to abide by the condition as stated by the staff?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. Okay, we got one person coming up to speak.
I just have a question. My name's John Anthony Graves. I live next door. Is this a ground level deck, or is this a?
Well, the house is on a crawl space, so it's not.
It's not second story type of a deck.
No,
okay.
it's not.
I just wanted to make sure we didn't have a
No.
structure this big and this high, overlooking the neighborhood.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comments? Well, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve variance request V16-001. That's not right. Yes, it is. Allow reduction of the rear yard setback from 30 feet to 23 feet for the deck. For a deck on the new single-family home, 0.18 acres, land lot 561, 1343 Marston Street, with a condition that approval of the this variance request be conditioned upon the substantial compliance with the site plan submitted with the variance application.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve variance request V16001. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16002, allow increase in wall sign from 40 square feet to 99 square feet. 2.83 acres, land lot 377, 2781 South Cobb Drive, TNT Stores, LLC. David Beatty is the applicant. Good morning. For the record, can you state your name, please?
Good morning, David Beatty.
Okay, all right. And can you tell us about your first variance request, please?
Okay, my first variance request. Your ordinance allows for variances. Standards to be met are extraordinary and exceptional conditions, where hardship self-created. Third, with strict application to deprive reasonable use, and is the request minimal. And we think we meet on all counts. Excuse me, I did my notes backwards. Are there extraordinary and exceptional conditions? Yes, they're topographical, excessive setback. We are low relative to the road and our neighbors. And we have a great majority of our customers will be out-of-town customers. And the perspective of the 40-foot, square-foot sign is out of proportion, in fact, to the extreme. Are the hardships self-created? No. We did not build the building. We didn't create the topography. We didn't decide on the setback. Will reasonableness be of the use of our use be denied? Reasonable means fair and sensible in accordance with reason, not extreme, according to Merriam-Webster. All we're asking for is, one, that you take into consideration the topography, that our customers are mostly from out of town, the setback of the building. It is back farther than most of the buildings around there, and basic readability of the sign. There's another fireworks store here that seems to have complied with these rules, Sky King on Spring Street, but given their proximity to the street and the size of their building, it could be argued that they have excessive signs, but I wouldn't argue that. But because of the unique and unchangeable features of our property, again, the topography, the setback, and the building size, to us, reasonable use is gained by allowing minimal size relief, as demonstrated by there was a previous issuance of a variance, I believe, for Holiday Inn Express because of the size of their building and the distance back from the road. Keeping in mind that our customer base is from out of town and the size of the sign can add to readability, therefore, driver and public safety, reasonable use and public safety are served by this relief. And how's that? The public safety served? People that aren't familiar with the area, looking for our business. There will be inadvertent drive-bys, which will create U-turns, which will also create slowdowns looking for us. And we think a bigger sign will be, in fact, useful in helping avoid these. See, and the last question is, is the request minimal? And I thought about this. You can't answer that in a vacuum, I guess, but there are indicators. I have pictures that show what is allowed, what we would like to have, and then what we are requesting. And I submitted those yesterday. You will note that these are shown as signage under the current ordinance, signage what we would like to have, and then what we're asking for. And those are put on the building in perspective from the actual picture from the street. And just as a matter of interest, you might know this is the most restrictive sign. I've done this all over the country. It's the most restrictive sign ordinance that I've dealt with, except for Leeds, Alabama, and they gave us a variance for what that's worth. But any questions of me?
Any questions of the applicant?
What color is the roof now?
It's green.
What's the purpose of the red roof now?
That's not what we're here to talk about, isn't it? I mean, it's legal color.
I was just asking a question.
Oh, it's our color. I mean,
Okay.
that's what we do. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's all I have.
It's just the color, our color scheme.
All right. Well, this time we'll have comments by the staff, please.
Good morning. This is a variance request at 2781 South Cobb. It's formerly the old Piccadilly restaurant that I often hear people refer to it as. The sign ordinance allows any standalone business that's not part of a multi-tenant planned shopping development, a freestanding monument sign, and a wall sign. The monument sign is allowed 32 square feet of sign area. The wall sign is allowed 40 square feet of wall sign area. That does
Did
not
you say 40?
40 square feet for the wall. That does not vary for anything. It's applied uniformly across the whole city. There was that one request we granted, the Holiday Inn Express, which is at least 350 feet back off the road and 8 stories. It's definitely a unique circumstance. However, for these single-use businesses, we've never granted a variance. So the applicant has proposed a freestanding sign which will be placed by the road at the entrance. That will be visible from South Cobb both directions. And they are allowed a 40 square foot wall sign wherever they choose to place that. Our sign ordinance disallows placement on a roof. It's a prohibited place to erect a sign on the roof. So that is another part of their variance request. We just feel like there's no significant hardship by which to grant this variance. As we've seen these over and over again, all of these businesses along South Cobb encumber the same difficulties with the width of that right-of-way on South Cobb. However, this business, beyond those conditions, does not have any other significant hardship, in our opinion. So we've recommended denial of that variance for the increase in wall sign area.
Joey, I wanted to ask you, our sign ordinance was amended, I guess, within the last couple of years, and Rusty may know a little bit better. Were there members of the business community on that committee that have businesses on South Cobb Drive?
Yes, there were. There was Adventure Outdoors was the business owner for Adventure Outdoors, and for McDonald's, Floyd Sims and Jay Wallace. In addition, we had citizen representation through Sean Murphy.
Good.
So that particular amendment dealt with electronic signs and temporary signs.
Okay.
So we moved away from the only form of temporary signs being banner signs to allowing multiple forms of temporary signs: inflatables, banner signs, A-frame signs, and the little feather flag signs. And we went and changed that to only be a 30-day period, and you were allowed 4 30-day periods in a calendar year.
So Mr. Beatty could take advantage of that if he desired to?
Yes, that's always an option.
Okay.
And then we updated the sign ordinance to address electronic signs, LED signs, where you can use multiple messages in certain time frames to deliver your message to the public.
Okay.
So with respect to sign area, sign height, there weren't any revisions in that last revision.
Any other questions for the staff?
I do. Joe, I just had a quick question just to make sure I'm clear. So there's consistency in as far as the signage along South Cobb Drive, and the only thing that you mentioned was this exception to the rule with the Holiday Inn as far as 350 feet back off the road, 8 stories high.
Correct, which isn't on South Cobb. It's on Spring and Cumberland, or Spring Hill Parkway. Anyway, over a different section of town. But correct, all of the businesses along South Cobb have been analyzed and had the sign ordinance applied the same way.
Thank you.
Mr. Beatty, did you have some other comments you wanted to make?
You know, the only other thing is, there seems to be, if we were in a planned shopping center, and correct me if I'm wrong, if we had 2 businesses in that very same building, in that very same location, I calculate that we would be allowed to have a 254 square foot sign. It takes into consideration the setback. It takes into consideration the size of the building. It takes into consideration a lot of things. That building is, and that particular building is much larger than its neighbors. Like I said, the 40 square foot sign on Sky King looks very in place. It looks very reasonable. It's extremely readable. But you're right there on it. I mean, the proximity of that building is on the street. In fact, it's on 2 streets. And all we're asking for is just a minor increase in the sign size to produce better readability.
Okay. This is a public hearing. If anyone else would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. All right. Any other questions or comments? Well, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to deny variance request B16-002, the allowance of increase in wall signage from 40 square feet to 99 square feet, 2.83 acres, land lot 377, 2781 South Cobb Drive, T&T Stores LLC, David Brittle as applicant.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we deny variance request V16002. All in favor, please vote. Pardon me, I'd like to. Okay, motion to deny. Okay. Motion passes unanimously. This particular item can be appealed to the mayor and council. If that is your desire, you need to contact our city clerk's office within 10 business days to get on an upcoming mayor and council agenda. Next item, and you can stay there, Mr. Beatty, is a public hearing, variance request V16003. Allow wall sign on roof, 2.83 acres, land lot 377-2781 South Cobb Drive, TNT Stores, LLC. David Beatty is the applicant. And Mr. Beatty, do you have any additional comments about this item?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Are there extraordinary and exceptional conditions? The building was designed with the primary flat roof over the bulk of the building. Additionally, over the portico and surrounding the outside perimeter of the building, there is an awning-style sign and, awning-style roof structure where the signs were designed and engineered to be placed. And you can see the picture of the old Piccadilly that I submitted. It has the signs, has the main roof, the awning, and the signs where they were placed and where it's engineered for them to be placed. The awning comes down within 8 feet of the ground, and any wall sign would be significantly blocked from view by a standard SUV, pickup truck, and partially by a standard car. Here is we've superimposed on the wall what would happen, and there's no place to put it other than right at the parking. There's no wall. The building, again, is over 6 feet below road grade at some points, and this additionally impacts the visibility, especially if it's on the wall. Again, the majority of our customers will be from outside of Smyrna, and a more readable sign will result in less accidental drive-bys, slowdowns looking for it, and U-turns. Were the hardships self-created? No. We didn't have anything to do with the design of the building or the construction of the building. And is the reasonable use denied? And again, we're just asking fair and reasonable sign placement, and to use it as designed when it impacts no one negatively and interested parties positively. It seems to be the very definition of reasonable. Staff's recommendation was that we modify the roof line to accommodate the sign, which seems extreme to me. It would be extremely expensive. The roof, I'm not sure we could, according to our builder, we may not be able to match the current roof. It would look added on. And to require an expensive redesign and modification of roof line to accommodate a sign that can be reasonably accommodated with the current design seems to be the definition of unreasonable. And is the request minimal? It's the only reasonable option, is the way we see it.
Questions for the applicant? Okay. Joey, got comments about this one, please?
Under Section 8212 of the sign ordinance is prohibited requirements for the sign, for any sign. Number 1 is roof sign, which it defines as any sign erected upon and above a roof structure and wholly supported by the roof structure or a structure placed upon the roof. So that definition prohibits roof signs, which that's what the request is at hand, is that a roof sign be allowed. Staff doesn't have the ability to recommend approval for a prohibited, for regulation that is prohibited. Additionally, community development believes if this was granted, it would set a negative precedent that would negate that whole prohibition if we were to allow a roof sign, because we do have those requested to as retrofits on other buildings that we deny often. So we don't see there to be a hardship, and we don't see the benefit that from the negative precedent that it would set. As the applicant mentioned, we did recommend or state as a suggestion that the roof be modified to change it to where there is additional roof above the existing wall, that there could then be a sign placed there. That's not, we're not telling them what to do, or we're not advising them what to do. It's just an alternative that we saw. So, but as far as the request goes for the walls, the roof sign, we request denial and believe it would set a negative precedent.
Mr. Beatty showed a rendering, and pardon my voice, where there was a car parked in front of the sign. If they were to eliminate one parking space, would that be a detriment to their business? Or has that even been considered?
We haven't.
Well, speak into the mic, please.
People don't pull up to a spot right here and then look for the sign. It could be blocked from both directions and then still be open. As far as giving up our prime parking spaces, we don't want to do that. I mean,
okay.
Where does reasonable stop and end? We could tear, we could get the owner to agree to it, we could tear the building down, put up a new one that applies. It's closer to the road. It's, better. But I mean, this is a building that this city apparently, or I assume, approved at one point. We didn't come up with the sign placement. It's where the building was designed to have the sign placed. I rode up and down South Cobb yesterday, and I didn't see any other buildings where I thought that this particular extraordinary circumstance applied. So, I mean, again, we're going to be spending $400,000 at least in retrofitting a building that has been vacant for over 5 years. We will be tax-paying a business. We will. We had a store in Cumming, and we used local soccer groups and the school band boosters, and they were able to, in 4 days, raise over $30,000. We want to be part of the community. We want to be great corporate citizens, and we want to, but we want to, within your ordinance, which allows for variance, to be treated reasonably too. So.
Any other questions?
I did. You mentioned you guys have opened up a lot of stores.
A lot of stores.
And you said you had a similar situation. I think you mentioned in Alabama. I think with
that was for size.
Okay. I was just curious as far as moving into the structure and checking in the due diligence as far as what you guys do and what's allowed when you're looking at this signage. Does that come into consideration when you guys are doing this?
Absolutely. And it also comes into consideration whether we'll go forward with this project or not.
So you were aware of these ordinances that were in place prior to as far as the signage?
Yes, and I asked, and I was told that there was a variance process that can be gone through. We've gone through a lot of variance processes and gotten a lot of variances given to us. So, it's not that we were ignorant of it. We were, in fact, very, very aware, and very aware that had there been no variance process, we would have exited this location out and moved on. It's not the best location that in the area, but it's one that we've focused on for now.
Christiana, you've got a picture of this proposal? Because I don't see one in our package of a rendering of this particular.
The only thing I have is this.
I've eaten there before.
Here's what would be.
Well, that's the wall sign. Oh, it keeps turning. Sorry.
That's not the one I want.
Would be legally allowed in size, and this is what.
Well, we're on the roof sign.
Here's what we were requesting.
So this is.
Location. Now it's all the same location. And
All right, so that one's in our package then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
all we want is so people can see it.
Okay, thanks.
You have some other comments, Rusty?
Yes, I just wanted to address your question regarding the parking area.
Okay.
This is the first time we're hearing about blocking the sign with parking spaces and whatnot. The Piccadilly site, based on our code, parking or restaurant uses have a parking ratio of 1 parking space per 75 square feet of floor area. General retail uses require 5.5 parking spaces per 1,000. So I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. If I would have known about this earlier, I would have been able to provide that to you. Mm-hmm. But it would be my assumption that the property is probably over parked for the use that they're proposing for a general retail use.
Okay.
So elimination of some parking spaces along that wall to make sure that there is clear visibility to that may be a viable option. I don't know at this point that is, but I'm assuming just based on knowledge of the site that there is a lot of parking on it, and it wraps all the way back to Powder Springs. Mm-hmm. I will be happy to look at that, and we can provide you that information. I just can't do it at this moment right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Could I comment on that? Our business is not ordinary retail. We'll be open from the Friday before Memorial Day through the 5th or 6th of July, from Christmas Day at the day after Christmas through January the 1st. Our business comes all at once. If you've ever bought fireworks, anybody here ever bought fireworks? Mm-hmm. It all comes at once. On the 3rd and 4th of July, we will have people parked everywhere. We make our business. Farmers think they got it rough with weather. If it rains too much on the 3rd and 4th of July, or it's too dry leading up to it, we're toast. It all comes. Parking, that was the one attractive thing about this location, is the parking. And in fact, there's a business next to us that our parking lots join that will not be open on the 4th of July, that we will talk with about renting their parking from them. Sorry. But as far as adequacy of parking, we'll use all those parking spaces.
Okay. Sure.
The monument sign request that was withdrawn, that was withdrawn because we allowed them to compensate for the change in grade from the site to with respect to South Cobb, and make up the difference that the top of the sign will be no less than, or the top of the sign will be a maximum of 8 feet from the grade of South Cobb Drive, and they are allowed to make up the compensation on their side that allows it to be 8 feet from South Cobb Drive. So they are not hindered at all by that change in grade, and that will be visible both directions of South Cobb Drive. And with the red roof, this will not be something you drive by and don't see or can't find, especially, it would be anecdotal, but I tend to think people know where they're going when they're going to fireworks stores. They know exactly where it is, and they're driving to it, not just driving by it and make an impulse decision. So how the wall sign needs to be worked out, there are alternatives other than putting it on the roof, which is a prohibited method of erection. That's our opinion, and still a recommendation to deny that request.
Thank you.
That's very anecdotal, his opinion. And the fact that people know exactly where they're going, it's helped by this. It's helped me. Mm-hmm. But that's not exactly true for everybody. They see our billboard. They decide to get off at the exit. They drive up South Cobb Drive. They're looking for our place. We have people that come into our buildings that have been buying fireworks at a building next door for 15 years. We build, they think they're next door. I mean, it's amazing, So for us to deal in the anecdotal and deal in the what if is, I think, not appropriate here. But again, I mean, the building was built for a roof sign. Hadn't seen that. It's still got the structure up there to set the sign on. Driven up and down through there, haven't seen that anywhere else. So, and again, we want to come here, and we need a little help here, if you would consider it.
Do you guys remember what the last business was that was in that building? Because I thought there was something else there since Piccadilly.
I want to say it was like a party business that they threw some parties, and it didn't last very long.
Like a youth for youth,
some kind of youth club or something like that.
All right.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it might have been used for a horror house or whatever, the Halloween walkthrough. Mm-hmm. But I can't remember. I mean, it's been vacant for a while.
Okay.
And it was vacant when I got here 9 years ago. So I'm sure Scott could probably let us know he's got the most institutional knowledge, but at this point, it is what it is.
Okay.
Absolutely right, Rusty.
All right. Well, this is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, I ask that you please step to the podium at this time. And for the record, can you please state your name?
I can. Stephen Harper. Okay. And I am a consultant and work with TNT. Born and raised in Smyrna, developed 2 CVS drugstores in the city of Smyrna. One we could throw a rock to here. What I'd like to do is point by point. There's a practical issue that needs to be applied when we discuss the real estate development business, specifically as it applies to a national company. This is a national company. This is like Home Depot. This is like, they have a national identity. Their colors matter because they use those colors nationally. People recognize names. They recognize the competition. They send out an incredible amount of mailers during the New Year's and the 4th of July season. People identify with that name. I am concerned when we begin to talk about parking on commercial properties. Parking on commercial properties in many jurisdictions I've developed properties in for a restaurant require 10 to 1, 10 parking places per 1,000 square feet. The parking demand for this specific group is huge. It's a very, very popular situation. They have, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that tell me that every year during the 4th of July season, they drive to Alabama or South Carolina to buy fireworks. And it's a very small window. Now, I want to take issue with, and I've done a little bit of this. I know what a mansard roof is. This roof, this is not a roof. This is an architectural feature that we're talking about here. That roof doesn't keep the rain out. It is an architectural feature. It breaks up the building so that it's not one flat building. The old Piccadilly sign was mounted on that mansard roof, and it was pretty big. The sign's down here on my CVS drugstore, pretty big, and it's it's 10,500 square feet, and they got signs all over that building. Now, I know it was done 15 years ago. My point simply is this: there is a practical application to wanting businesses in this community to survive and succeed. There is also a safety issue. Eliminating a couple parking places in front of the place is not going to accomplish anything. They don't need Las Vegas signage. All they really need is for people to identify when they're driving by. I think the speed limit on South Cobb Drive is 45 miles an hour. Most people are going 55 or 60. It's important to get line of sight and identity with a business when you're driving down the road, especially if you got 3 kids in the back of the car and you're going to pick up fireworks. And you all know what children can do to disrupt people's attention in driving down the road. Again, it's important that this building be identified, just like it's important that CVS is identified. A lot of times, you and I go into CVS drugstore simply because we're sitting at the parking light at Spring Street and Atlanta Road, and we look up and see the sign and say, hey, I need to run in there and get something. The same thing is going to happen during the 4th of July season. The same thing is going to happen during the New Year's period. So those are the only points. Again, it's important. That's not a roof. It's the facade of that building, just like the facade is very similar to CVS drugstore on both Concord and Hurt and here. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Any other comments from the public? Any other questions for the staff? All right, well, at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to deny variance request V16003, allowing a sign on a roof, 2.83 acres, land lot 377, 2781 South Cobb Drive, TNT Stores, LLC. David Beatty as the applicant.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we deny variance request V16003, allow wall sign on roof. All in favor, please vote. All right, motion passes unanimously. Again, Mr. Beatty, this item can be appealed to the mayor and the council. You have 10 business days to contact our city clerk's office to get on an upcoming city council agenda. That's here in this office, and the deputy city clerk is actually sitting in the back. Her name is Heather Korn. Wave your hand, Heather. Okay. Next item is a public hearing, variance request V16004, allow increase in monument sign height from 8 feet to 12 feet, 2.83 acres, land lot 377, 2781 South Cobb Drive, TNT Stores, LLC. David Beatty is the applicant, and this request has been withdrawn by the applicant. Any other comments about this one? All right. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Well,
let me hold on. This is a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak regarding this issue, please step to the podium at this time. Okay, Scott, I'm ready.
Make a motion to for this item to be withdrawn for the agenda.
Second that motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that variance request V16004 be withdrawn as requested by the applicant. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously, and it is being withdrawn without prejudice. Next item is approval of the meeting minutes for December the 9th, 2015. I'd like to entertain a motion, please.
Make a motion to approve the December 9th, 2015 License and Variance Board meeting minutes.
Second the motion.
It's been motioned and properly second that we approve the December 9th, 2015 License and Variance Board meeting minutes. All in favor, please vote. Motion passes unanimously. I'd like to declare this meeting adjourned at 10:52 a.m. Thank you.